busy time right now because I have just finished flea checking the last of the cats. And because I'm allergic to the fleas, it's getting to me. So I found at least 4 or 5 on each of the cats. So R.I.P. me. Especially because some cats did not appreciate the check. So I have got numerous scratches and claw holes. And by claw holes I mean places where a claw literally stabbed rather than just scratching. It's great. I tried to make it as best as possible because I always check my cats using the massage method where I just scratch them like I'm petting them, massaging them, and I can tell when there's a flea or something with that little bead I feel through the fur. So yeah. It's usually the best way to work it, especially when I'm working with cats like Luna and Leo, who are very dark fur. So I can't really get a good look to actually see if there's a flea there by checking by eye. And they don't really like to cooperate with a flea comb very well. So thankfully the girls are pretty good. Luna, Alice is kind of hit and miss. Initially she'll squirm a lot, but after a little bit, when she realizes what's happening, she starts chilling out. Be like, oh, I could fall asleep to this. Okay. Luna will let me lay her on her back so I can check her. So yeah, Luna, I can usually lay her on her back so I can check her stomach, which is white. And then I just use the massage method for the rest of her. Alice, I just find full massage is the best way to grab her, other than like spot checks after she's reached that chill point. Leo needs a full handhold. He growls, but he takes it ish. And Ace just won't have a thing about it. Not a bit. So the majority of this is actually Ace with a bit of Leo. Tiny bit of Luna. Alice. So yeah. Great times were not had. But I cannot let them have fleas because allergies. Fun times. We also gave them all flea medication yesterday, but I'm still trying to do daily or near daily checks on them for at least the last week or so, maybe closer to 2 weeks. It's a little trickier while my mom was here because they're a little more scarce around the house outside of when I was working. Anyway. So yeah, I don't think I've really talked much about hardly anything in the last couple weeks because things were just busy, especially when my mom was here, because I was pretty much either working or visiting with my mom, since the majority of the time that she was here was on days that I was working. She was here Friday evening until Thursday early afternoon. Yes, the day before yesterday. Is it really the day before yesterday already? Wow. Okay. This weekend is really going by far too fast. It feels like it should be like early afternoon on Friday. It's passed by so fast. Anyway, this is instead the evening on Saturday. Which means I have work again tomorrow. Anyway. So yeah, a lot of socializing, really, this last, like, couple weeks. So, yeah, I did not really have the time to go through it. Anyway, so yeah, there was the whole thing where, so basically, last Wednesday, I took off work, drove up to Cumming, visited Nikki's house with my mom, Nikki, chillins, until my dad got back from his lunch/breakfast with a friend in town. Then we hung out for a bit at Nikki's house, and then ended up taking Aeon home with me that night. We hung out here Thursday. Didn't really get up to a whole bunch because she had schoolwork that she was working on while she was here. Brought her back home Friday morning. Stopped at 2nd and Charles on our way to drop her back off at home. Because the plan was to watch her and, well, just sort of like be there with her until the littles got off of the school bus that afternoon. But as it turns out, Nikki and my parents beat us back over to her house because we ended up being at the Steak and Shake, getting ready to get to her house like another 15 minutes away around 12:30 when they called and were like, "We're back." Because what with there being 4 different semesters of graduations mushed together at KSU, they basically had just sort of kept to the very basics of the names and like maybe one opening speech thing instead of like multiple speeches. So they were in and out fairly fast. Paired up with the fact that the names were split up over like 4 different days or something. You know, there's a lot of people included in the graduation when the program with all the names. 509 pages. 509. And I'm talking almost strictly just names, other than when they just divided out like which section of the school they went with and what their like degree was for. And my sister is like on page 479. It's insane. Anyway. So yeah, that was Friday. We went up there. I tried to pick up the kids from the bus since Nikki was taking a nap by the time they actually got off the bus. But since I was new, and Nikki forgot to tell me about the bus pass that they recently set up since the last time I had picked them up from the bus stop, they would not release the children to me. And it was also a new driver. So yeah, she was like, "Oh, well, I can check your driver's license." I'm like, I brought my phone and a bag of dum-dums like my niece asked me to. So she's like, "Oh, I'll drop off the rest of the kids and then I'll circle back around. Which house is yours?" So I will try to rush back up the hills to my sister's and get my license. And by that point, she was back awake, and my mom. So my mom, like all 3 of us, between my sister, my mom, and I, went back outside to wait for the bus. And then they released them, the chillins. And they're like, "Well, now at least I recognize you." And it's like, that's great and all, but I will not be back before the end of the school year, so yeah, fun times there. And then obviously I hung out with my dad and everyone a little bit more that afternoon. And then my mom ended up coming back with me back to the house here Friday night. And so yeah, we got here probably like 8-ish, something like that, Friday night. Just unpacked the car and stuff and cleaned up a little bit, like with the litter boxes, since it was just that time of the week, and that was a fresh start for the week. Yeah, and then Saturday, we got up and actually met up with my aunt and uncle, who drove over from Montgomery for the day, just strictly to come meet up with my mom and by extension me. So we met up with them. We spent the morning at Walmart because they were a little late leaving the house, so we had like a 3-hour window to wait for them. So we went by Walmart and got a few things, like some extra groceries for the week, and my mom stocked up on some heritage stuff because for some reason where she is in Rochester, they don't really have hardly any of it, and so she was stocking up on a few things like the apple cider vinegar while she was here. So yeah, and then we met up with my aunt and uncle here at the house briefly before we all drove over to the mall, like outlet place, and ended up eating at Olive Garden. We got there probably about 3:30, maybe like 3:15. No, hold on. We got there. We must have gotten there right about 4 actually, because they got to town about 3:30. So then we were deciding where to go and just generally like seeing the house briefly. So yeah, we got to the restaurant about 4, and we had to wait like 40 minutes to be seated, which was a little odd because like pretty much none of us had been out to eat in a restaurant since start of COVID, but since everyone was vaccinated, we're like, let's get inside. So yeah. So yeah, it was pretty empty. My mom was really like, whoa, wait, 40 minutes? Even though there's like literally only like 2 tables being set right now. But I think we assumed that it was part COVID, like distancing, but also part because the timing was probably like the switch between lunch and dinner shift. So anyway, when we finally got sat down about 4:50ish, in the end, we actually had like our section of the restaurant to ourselves for the majority of the time we were there, until like 1 or 2 tables otherwise, like in opposite ends of the room, sat down like as we were like getting checks and whatnot situated. So it was nice, very quiet, just nice to see everyone, because I don't think I've seen my aunt and uncle since I went out to Alabama with my mom on the way back from when we went to Florida, like 2017? Yes, 2017. Because just before I started, when I was switching over to my current job, I had like a week vacation. Literally took my vacation the week before I left my last job, because that's just when I had earned it, and they're like, you have to take it now or you lose it, because of how small the department was, and they wouldn't have a chance to cover for me otherwise, which was great. So I had to take it like the week I found out I was qualified to go ahead and take it. Anyway, so yeah, like the week before Halloween, my mom and I drove down to Panama City to visit my family, and then we stopped in Montgomery on the way home. And that was the last time I saw my aunt and uncle. So yeah, ended up spending like an hour or 2, probably closer to 2, there at the restaurant. And then popped over to Kay's for a brief moment to make sure my mom had her contact information associated with the necklace that my siblings and I pretty much pitched together for her Mother's Day gift. And that way she could bring it in to be serviced and everything as needed. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, after that we came back to the house, talked for a brief few minutes just to sort of like say goodbye and everything, and then my aunt and uncle went back to Montgomery. So yeah, they pretty much drove 3 hours here to spend roughly 3 hours in town and then another 3 hours back home. Craziness. So yeah. And then Sunday to Wednesday I was working. So my mom was working on a few things while she was here, between like sorting through clothes that she wanted to bring back home with her versus what she wanted to donate, things like that. And also she had some of the food storage stuff from the house that she was repacking from like the big like tin cans into Ziploc bags so that she could easier ship them back home with her. Oh my god. And then I was showing her different things with like Shutterfly as well to help out with that. And then we watched a lot of Doctor Who and Harry Potter while she was here. And I became the resident book of knowledge for context. So yeah. It was nice being able to visit and everything and spend time without the usual. I get to see her for like part of a day or like maybe 2 days when she stayed here before. So, and then yeah, on Thursday was finally my next day off. So we spent the morning. I woke up to a message from my sister being like, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave to come pick up mom. And I'm like, I thought you were coming tomorrow. But since my mom still had a couple other things to take care of that she needed to be back up there in Atlanta for, we went ahead and sorted out having her go back home Thursday instead of Friday. So yeah, we briefly went over to Gottwall's to go check on a couple books, and we're there for about an hour, and then picked up groceries from the online pickup, and grabbed lunch from Zaxby's to bring home, and got back to the house just a few minutes, barely, after my sister ended up getting here in town. Like she was just getting out of the car, sort of that close together. She ended up taking the littles out of school for like half a day so that she could go ahead and drive down without having to be in a rush to get back up to town. Because she's been wanting to meet Leo, because my sister's a sucker for a brown tabby. That's why she's had like 7 of them in a row. So yeah, Aeon ended up staying at the house up in Atlanta. So it was just like 2-hour brief visits of everyone together here, and trying to keep the kids kind of quiet since Ed was working at the house. My god. The allergies. I'm gonna have to take some medicine here in a few minutes, because oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, they were visiting for like 2 hours, and then they we packed everything up, made sure everything was good to go. They drove back home, visiting my other sister about halfway back up to Atlanta. And they ended up staying there for about another 2 hours there. Yeah, my mom flew back home to New York this morning. And then noticed that she still had my sister's car keys. So that's fun, seeing them sort that out. Thankfully my sister doesn't have to go anywhere till the Chillins get ready to go to California next weekend to visit their dad. And I have a visitor myself. Hi, Miss Hannes. Hello. Hello. Have you forgiven me, baby? What are you doing? What you gonna do? What you gonna do, little girl? What you gonna do? Alice. Alice. Just gonna hang out over there. That works. Yeah. Meanwhile, since my mom left, I kind of crashed and burned the rest of that day. I just laid down. I think I ended up taking an involuntary nap on the couch for about an hour or so. Same yesterday and today, actually. A lot of involuntary naps. Anyway, and then I really haven't been a whole lot of productive. I've done dishes today. I had to go back out to the store yesterday to pick up a few things that they weren't able to include in the Kroger grocery order. So I went over to Publix and did that. That's pretty much been it. Really, just this last week has just been a whole lot of socialization. Actually, no, there is one other thing. This morning, I went to the church down here for the first time because they were doing a quilting thing for Relief Society. So I went to go actually meet a few people from the ward down here. And we were there for probably about 3 hours working on stuff. And I almost wrecked doing things. Not really, but a little bit, because I just can't keep a needle threaded on a sewing machine, apparently. And I need to take a break, because the sinuses are getting bad. So, I'll be back at some point. This is where things are. Have you forgiven me? That looks to be a yes. You like me again? These two seem to be okay. This one got very angry. But there was a flea on his face. I don't think I even got it, actually. But who knows where it's wandered off to at this point. Sorry, little boy. Fleas are not fun. You got something on your ear. What is it? Feels like a flea, but I guess it's not one. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. No nibbles. He seems to have been... Hey! Now he's just to his normal nibbling. Oh, little boy. You're just back to nibbling for fun now. even if it doesn't feel so fun for me. Hello. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Listen. She's no, we're done. We're not doing this again. Brief recap then. Oh my god. I really need to take off this makeup too because my eyes are gonna be evil for a while. No. Yes, I blame you, sir. So yeah, this morning, woke up a little bit early and drove out to the church to meet people. It went well. We finished the top of one quilt and finished making sure all the squares and everything were cut out and lined out to make sure we had everything we needed for a second quilt, but didn't actually do any sewing on that second one. We were there for probably like 3 hours and there was like 5 people, but it was nice. It was very chill and it was good to actually participate in a church thing again because it's been a long time. So I don't think I've been properly to a church event in person since like 2017, maybe 2018. It's been a hot minute. So yeah, hopefully I can make it to more, but thankfully it worked out today to at least make that first step because I happened to see a Facebook post, a reminder about it last night, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably check that out. So yeah, I am miserable right now from these allergies. My eyes are on fire. I cannot breathe through my nose. The need to sneeze is very frequent. It's not a fun time. So I'm gonna take off my makeup so that I can not be making a total mess of my face with these itches. And go figure out what I'm gonna do for like dinner and whatnot to settle in for the night because it's getting to be that time. Yeah. This has been the update. Reading wise, not a lot was done. I knew there was not a lot of true visiting time with my mom, so I got like maybe 30-ish pages further into The Other Side of Heaven over the last week and a half or so. So I'm getting close. So there's less than 100 pages left. I think I'm down to like the last 70 pages before I finish the book. So we'll get somewhere. Will I be able to finish all the books that I planned for this month? Probably not. Almost certainly not. Especially because there's no audiobooks for any of them. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking for real this time. Go wash my face. And try not to die from these stupid allergies. Bye. A brief sort of like end of the week vlog thing. So I've just finished work for today and thankfully had some of the best news because enough people have trained in chat now that they've cut back our schedules. So I'm back to only doing chat till 12:45 on Sundays now, apparently, and just 2:15 as the end time the rest of the week. So, like, that's awesome. Because that's like 6 hours less each week. It's so beautiful. You don't understand. I was so happy. Especially since I got the shortest, like, shift to get through today. So yeah, it's awesome. Did I read yet today though? No. Instead, I finished a 5-hour Doctor Who review of the last 2 seasons, because why not? I don't know, I lost my mind. I went into it with zero intent to actually watch it through, and then next thing I knew, I did. Luna, this is not yours. I'm trying to drink my milk. That is rude. Anyway, I've got to do some editing and stuff, and also I need to upload some more stuff to Shadowfly for my mom. So there's stuff we got to get done. Also, my new playing cards for, like, generally just like having something to do with my hands while I'm watching TV and stuff in my spare time have arrived today, because my galaxy looking ones that I keep in the living room got eaten by my cats. Never touched them before when I've had them sitting on my cart for months. Like a full year even. Multiple years when it comes to the other cats. Most they've done ever is just knock down the pile if I leave it somewhere where it can easily be, like, fall. But no, they literally stole them out of the cart and chewed on them. So, I got these beautiful gold foil ones to replace them. And so I have the cheap, basic bicycle decks in the living room now. And these will remain either in the bedroom or here at my computer, at least for now. And everything is staying in boxes when I'm not using them actively. Anyway, I need to eat dinner and get to editing and stuff, so this has been the last couple weeks. And yeah, it's gonna go back to being fairly quiet here very quickly.